George Washington Carver once said, "When you can do the common things of life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world." George Washington Carver was a botanist and agricultural scientist with an interesting history that's famous for his work with peanuts. Now, if you didn't know, the part of the peanut that we eat actually grows underground. Here's some being harvested right now. Take a look at how they're pulled up and laid out to be picked. Do you see the sand on the shells? Growing root crops in sandy soil makes them much easier to pull out. Good trick if you're growing a garden, add sand for your carrots. Before we get into all the things plants can do, let's review life cycles real quick. We'll use a sunflower. Plants start as seeds. The seeds grow up into seedlings, keep getting bigger and bigger. The leaves make food. The stem supports the plant. The flower blooms, gets pollinated. It makes seeds. The flower dies off. And as it dies off, the seeds start to drop to the ground and spread out. Those seeds grow new sunflowers. The leaves make food. The flower comes out, makes more seeds. Those seeds fall. Another plant grows, which it grows up. Flower blooms, makes more seeds. When the flower dies off, they fall down, make more seeds, grow more plants. Plant grows up, makes another flower. Flower dies out, the seeds fall down, they spread out.
That's enough.
So you get the idea. So let's move on and check out that beautiful wide world of plants. Starting with how they grow, we're going to take a look at the roots. Roots. A root is part of a plant that is usually hidden underground. They hold the plant in the ground and keep it upright. They take water and food from the soil, and they also store food for the plant. Here's some roots we eat that you may know. We've got carrots and beets. Lots of different ways to prepare them. Next up, we have garlic and onions. You can see there's some sliced cross sections. Next up, we have ginger and dandelion. Ginger is a seasoning, like ginger ale, and dandelion root can be roasted for coffee. Next, we have potatoes, regular and sweet potatoes. Both grow underground. Not quite roots, but they still grow underground. Moving up the plant, we have the stem. Most of the stem is usually above the ground. It supports the plant and acts as a place to transport water and nutrients from the leaves to the roots, flowers, all over. Here are what most people think when they hear the word stem. But we also have stems we eat, like this asparagus. Not my favorite, maybe you like it. Next we have some celery, which is great in soup or for snacks. I like putting peanut butter in the middle and raisins on top. Rhubarb and Swiss chard are another common stem that people like to eat. But one you probably like better is this sugar cane, which we make into sugar, and we use it for lots of things. We're not the only ones that eat stems and leaves. Here's a panda gnawing on some bamboo. And this chimp is using a stem as a tool to get ants out of the ground to eat. Tree trunks are a special kind of stem. I bet you can guess what we use them for. They come in a lot of varieties. Let's check some out. Watch out for surprises. You guessed it, we turn tree trunks into lumber. That's wood we can use for building houses. Some are built better than others, while some are built much better. Some very large structures made out of wood. We have temples, mining towns, and the largest all-wood structure is this church in Russia. That's enough about stems for now. Let's check out leaves next. Leaves are one of the most important parts of the plant. They make the food for the plant through a process called photosynthesis, with sunlight, water, and nutrients from the soil. They come in many sizes. Most people think of leaves we use like lettuce for this salad. Yummy! Spinach is another leafy vegetable people often think of when we talk about leaves. But here's another one, my favorite, the dandelion. I like adding mine to bruschetta. Alright, try and control your excitement as we go through the vegetables. Here's some other uses for leaves. A lot of our seasonings come from leaves. Lots of spices or dried leaves that we grind up and add. Another good use is tea. Here are some tea leaves being harvested and tea being poured. In tropical places, they have other uses for leaves. Banana leaves are often used to wrap and cook food in. The food is commonly cooked with hot steam. Very similar to leaves is the seaweed used for nori, the wrapping for sushi. It's making me hungry just thinking about it.
From the land where palm trees sway.
Leaves can also be used to make some interesting shelters.
Will be green and bright, the sun to shine by day and all the stars at night.
Alright, after the leaves, we have the brightest part of the plant, the flowers. Flowers, the part of the plant that blossoms. Flowers produce the seeds that can become new plants. And flowers use pollination to make the seeds. The bright colors and sweet smells help attract insects and animals that can help flowers pollinate each other. And most plants produce some kind of flower. Here's a butterfly helping spread pollen from flower to flower. Often we think flowers are just for decoration, like these flowers in vases and bouquets. They could be small, like these wildflowers, or large, like sunflowers. While insects like bees help the flowers to pollinate, the flowers help bees to make something they need and we like, honey. Let's take a look at some honeycombs. Here's a beekeeper removing a set of honeycombs from the hives he keeps. You can see all the bees cling to the honeycomb. They can get them off safely with some smoke. After the bees are removed, it's time to take off the wax that seals the honey in. The wax can be saved and used too. Beeswax is actually pretty expensive. Here comes all the honey. I'm gonna heat it up and get it out of there once the rest of the wax is removed. Good stuff. They're back, my favorite, the dandelions. The flowers can be fried up. It's good stuff right here. And violets are great plain, in salads, or you can make them into jelly. Here are some other common flowers people eat, but be careful, some have dangerous lookalikes, so ask an adult first. Another tasty flower are zucchini blossoms, a Pennsylvania favorite. You can cook them up lots of different ways. We use flowers to make all kinds of foods, dyes, medicines, snacks. The one thing we don't use flour for is making flour. For that, we use seeds. Seeds from the grain group, usually wheat, but we can use some other ones too. Of course, after the flowers, we get seeds. They come in many shapes and sizes. Seeds are small embryonic plants wrapped in a seed coat and given a little bit of extra food to help them get started growing. They form from flowers and often develop more inside fruit. They can be very small, too small to see with your eyes, or very large like coconuts. Here's some seeds and nuts, which are like seeds. It's a close-up of seeds developing on a sunflower. Seeds spread many ways. We'll cover that another day, like these dandelions blowing in the wind. But here's one of my favorites, cocoa. Now there's the fruit. Seeds are on the inside. These cacao seeds need a lot of work before we can turn them into chocolate. But I don't know about you, I think it's worth it. Another great favorite, if you have chocolate, you need vanilla. Vanilla comes from vanilla beans and the seeds are very fine, but they make great things like vanilla ice cream and other vanilla flavored stuff. And of course, my favorite, coffee, which comes from ground up coffee beans, which are a special kind of seed. Very special if you ask me. Some seeds we can just roast, crack, and eat. Others, like this coconut, take more work. This is a fresh green coconut. They're usually harvested to get the drink out of the inside, the coconut water or coconut milk. The brown coconuts you see are a little bit older. If you look at the chart, you can see the different ways we use coconuts at different times. In the medium-sized group, we have the grains, which we grind into flour. They can make our wonderful bread products from the flour, or leave them a little bit bigger and add as cereal. Some are, like oats, are even squeezed to make milk that you can put on that cereal. Other seeds like acorns are edible with a little bit of work, or the pine nuts from inside pine cones, but they're more popular for the animals like squirrels. We don't have time to watch squirrels all day, even though looking in trees for them is fun. We're getting short on time, so let's jump to the next section. Fruit. A fruit's job is to hold seeds and help spread them away from the parent plant. Not all fruits are edible by people, and a plant can be a fruit and vegetable at the same time. That's because the fruit is just the part of the plant that holds the seeds, like these berries or cherries. Even tomatoes, since they have seeds inside them, are technically a fruit, even though they're also a vegetable. Now the seeds are often in the middle of the fruit, and you can often find them if you cut the fruit in half. Now we make many kinds of food out of fruit in many flavorings, but the most popular definitely is candy. There's lots of candy, lots of varieties, lots of candy. We add fruit flavoring to many things, and often drink fresh fruit juice, which we can use to make other things like ice cream and sherbet, to name a few. Thanks to modern technology, you can buy fresh fruit from all over the world at your grocery store. It also makes great food for animals. Other than food, you can also use fruit to make many different cleaning products and chemicals, along with vitamins and medicine, even biofuels to make energy to power our lives. It's a little bit tricky and we're not going to get into the chemistry today, but it gets pretty interesting. As a matter of fact, we get many wonderful chemicals from plants that we use in a variety of uses. Commercial, residential, industrial, to make clothes, to make paint and food coloring. Lots of uses that we'll have to get into another day. For now, look around you and see what you can think of that is made out of plants. Maybe keep a mental list for the next time we see each other. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you and have a great break.